Hey everybody, in this video I'm just going to go ahead and jam out. So I've been busy with a lot of other projects and had a lot of things on my plate, and I know that I need to make a video. And this video is going to show you how I utilize my lasso tool technique. I'm not going to say it's my lasso tool technique, but it's something that I kind of discovered on my own and found it to be very, very cool. And it gives you kind of a vectorized look without using Illustrator. And so I have no idea what I'm going to go ahead and show you today, but if you're watching this, you're along for the ride. So I'm always thinking about horizon lines, where I want the viewer's eyes to go. And I'll use a combination of this lasso tool technique coupled with just good old-fashioned ink brush to kind of give it that organic feel. There's no right or wrong answers. You don't have to just use one tool. You can mix and match. Think about texture when you're kind of conveying some kind of an object. I'll put these little dots in to kind of remind myself that, hey, this is a rock. Alright, so we've got that. It kind of reminds me like of a pool of lava, these color choices that I have here. So I think I might run with that. So I'm doing a lot of selections and then jumping selections off onto their own layer through Command J. Let's just change our sky to saturated. Let's just dial that down. Let's check contrast. See, that's poor contrast right there. Better. I want to go for a darker time of day. So I've got a keyboard shortcut mapped to quickly toggle between grayscale and color, and I've got a video on that subject. And so I'm just going to kind of play around a little bit. Okay. All right, let's get that lava flowing. So again, regular lasso tool. Just create a couple of wavy lines to kind of mimic flow. And then we can come back in and use our brush tool. To add some refinement. It's like a pool of lava. So we've got our foreground elements set up. We've got some rocks, got some lava. I think what's kind of missing here is just the bubbly nature of lava. So what I'm going to do is, on a layer above everything else, come back in with my lasso tool and just kind of create these little bowy shapes. Love making these kind of cool little splashes. It's all organic, right? Let's add a few little highlights here and there, just to give these splashes a little bit of form. Alright, so now let's investigate this background. We can make the areas in the background appear much farther away. We're using a dark value here for these mountains. So we've got this pool of lava. I think it'd be kind of cool, I don't know, to have this lava kind of spilling down one of these rocks. So I'll sample this orange, come back in here, and let's just create a couple of lines. Duplicate that selection, change the color to orange, and bump that up. And then come back in with that light value. So we have this little organic feel of lava moving down. The cool thing about this technique is there's really like no pressure. You can just have some fun with it and experiment and just cutting things, duplicating selections. It's really more akin to shape building, which is what I'm doing here. Alright, so let's go back to this base layer here. Let's take that orange that I have that's permeating the lava, and I'll use my big soft brush, and I'll set this to screen. Just kind of come back in and paint a little bit of ambient light. Let's do my contrast check. So that just kind of gives a little bit of a more subtle gradient to everything that I've got going on here. And then let's also do the same thing for, you know, some of the rocks that are in the immediate foreground. I'll set that layer to multiply, and I'll pick a cool color, kind of a purplish color. And I'll just move this up. So that gives us the idea that this particular rock might be a little bit closer to the viewer. Then just kind of adds a more complex gradient to it. So let's see. So we've got some lava, got some rocks. What else can we add to the scene to make it kind of interesting? So we don't know exactly what time period this takes place in. It could be prehistoric times, it could be modern times. There's no context here, right? So we know the time of day, we know the terrain, and you want to think about narrative, you want to think about some kind of a story element that you can incorporate that will just add something to what we're looking at here. So I'm just spitballing live here, perhaps. We could have a hint of some structures. Here's where I'm using the polygon lasso tool. So I'll move this back. I want to tuck it after these mountains. There we go. So I'm just moving things around, and then maybe we'll just have, you know, a few leading lines. So this gives us some context, right? We have this idea that, okay, there's some kind of a man-made structure that is here. We don't quite know what it is, but it kind of anchors us to a more clearer time period, right? So I've got this weird structure here. Where do I want the eyes to look? Well, the eye is going to go, generally speaking, to this area here, but there's not a clear focal point. So we want to think about that too. Let's see, what else can we add here? It's kind of hard to do these things on the spur of the moment. Maybe we can have some trees in the background. Give it some vegetation. Sample that blue, that light blue color. And let's go back. And I've got a tool presets here that allows me to quickly go back and forth between the brushes that I use on a regular basis. I find that to be super helpful. Trees, just add some more visual interest, you know. Checking contrast again, using Command Y. I think I'm going to go for something that's a little bit cliche, which is to say that having some kind of a light source So the eye is definitely going to go to that spot because that is the lightest component. We have leading lines from the background mountains, right? We have leading lines from the foreground mountains that are taking us down to this spot. We have leading lines from the lava itself. So everything is kind of now pulling the viewer to this particular area. Everything else is shown, but there's some strategizing that's going on here to make this a strong composition. We have foreground, midground, background, We have a good blend of light, medium, and dark values. When you convert this to grayscale, you can see there is something that's almost white, and then you've got some light gray, you've got some medium, and you've got some dark values present. So there's a wide range of grayscale values, which is always good. We have a focal point, and we have some sense of a narrative. Now, the narrative is pretty subtle. There's not like a character in here doing anything, but we do understand that, okay, we see some kind of a man-made structure. We see that it is, either a sunset type situation, and we have lava that's coursing through this area. So, we're asking some questions. Who built that structure? Where is this area located at? Maybe it's on Earth, right? It looks like the trees there, the vegetation suggests that it is on Earth. So these are things that you want to think about when you're constructing a background. So I hope you found this, it's not really a tutorial, but I hope you found this discussion to be valuable. Let me know what you think about this technique and this approach. And let me know what you would like to see in upcoming videos. And I will get back to doing more of that stuff now that some time is freeing up. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.